Hi, I'm Shaurya Thapa of Borrowing Tape, and I'm here today with Ariane Louis-Seize, the director and co-writer of the 2023 coming-of-age horror comedy Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person. Thanks for joining us today, Ariane. And
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
yeah, and like before I get into the technicalities, it's just the title is intriguing, obviously. Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person. That's quite a mouthful of a title. So let me ask, how did you come up with the title? Like, was it a working title or was it always supposed to be this?
Ah, it was the only title we always had. When I asked my good friend Christine to write this film with me, I had this idea of this humanist vampire who put Craigslist ads to find a consenting person, and it was the title of the Craigslist ads, Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person. So, and when I asked Christine if she wanted to write this with me, I said, but I don't have a title yet, and she was like, "What do you mean?" For sure, it has to be this title, like your Craigslist ads is the title of the film. And I was like, you're right. And we never change it. And we this the thing with this title is that is so it gives you already a good idea of the tone of the film, and it's a trigger warning by itself also, because you know that suicidal will be a theme in this film. So and I love long title myself. And even if people can't remember all the title, just remember Humanist Vampire, and
Yeah.
like it's gonna be all right. So yeah, that's the story.
Uh, the protagonist in your film, Sasha, we follow her from her younger years and then to her teenage.
Mhm.
And so it doubles as an exploration of adolescence from a young vampire's perspective. So was the protagonist always supposed to be a teenager? Like, why did he choose a teenage vampire protagonist?
Mm. Um, it's but there's a lot of reason. She's always be a teenager in our mind, and it's because I I'm a big fan of vampire film, but not all the vampires. Like, I'm not a fan of vampires, but I there's lots of vampire film who really stay with me. And what I like about the vampires characters, the way I can play with attraction, repulsion, and it's a nice playground to talk about a really deep subject as well. And I really like, when I was teenager myself, I like Juno, Little Miss Sunshine, Garden State, those indie coming of age film.
Yeah.
And for me to mix those two inspiration and tones together allows me to like explore our contradiction. And when like teenagers are amazing characters, because when you are a teenager, you learn who you are, and you learn about your contradiction, and you try to reject some part of you, and you play with your boundaries, the boundaries of others, to try to find like what are those boundaries. And so I thought that treat teenagers, vampire teenagers, like a regular teenager, can be a new take on vampire stories. And yeah, that was the idea from the beginning.
So you were talking about vampire films and like how you're not particularly fond of vampires, but like while watching Humanist Vampire, obviously like in some scenes I was reminded of Let the Right One In, Jim
Mm-hmm.
Jar's Punches, Only Lovers Left Alive. But what were the particular vampire or non-vampire films that influenced your film?
There's I don't know if it's an I didn't use it like a proper influence, but The Hunger from Tony Scott with David Bowie, Susan Sarandon, and Catherine Deneuve was the first vampire film that I really enjoy, because the vampire in this movie are not just bloodthirsty creature, and it's really, they are complex characters, and it's it plays a lot with the attraction repulsion. So it's the source of my love for or interest for vampires. Also the film A Girl Walk Home Alone at Night from
Yes.
Anna Lily Amerpour is a big inspiration for me. When I saw it, I was about to shoot my first short film, which wasn't a vampire film, but I decided to make the main actress um, watch it because I wanted to direct her like a vampire. And it's a weird film as well. It's about a woman who find a baby snake in her apartment, and she decided to keep it, and the jungle grow in her apartment, and she kind of reconnect herself with her wild instinct. So it was my way of doing a vampire film without doing one. And now what is interesting is that I think with Humanist Vampire, it's also a vampire. It's an actual vampire film, but I work create my characters like they were just normal humans, just with slightly different problems. So it's it's another way to play with vampires without going for the obvious stories. And but I can also talk about Under the Skin from Jonathan Glazer. It's not a vampire film, but it's still a non-human characters who wants to at some point experience what it is to be a human and live like a human. And I do a little homage a scene in my film to Under the Skin. There's this scene where the characters of Scarlett Johansson try to eat a cake, and she knows she can eat food, but she don't know what it's gonna do to her. And this moment where she tried to do it was a big reference in my film, in the poutine scene. It's like my Quebecois twist to the scene where Sasha tried to kill herself with a poutine, our national dish in Quebec. Um, and yeah, so there's also this attraction repulsion in this film, and in this scene is like the attraction to want to know what it is, but to eat it looks so good, and or maybe it don't look good for you because you don't like what it is, but people seems to enjoy it so much. So what this experience, but also it can kill me. So I like playing with that. And yeah, Under the Skin was a big inspiration for me and Sarah Monpetit, who play Sasha.
All right. You mentioned your short films somewhere, and making the transition from short films to your feature length debut as a director. So, what were the challenges that came with it, or were there no challenges?
There was challenges for sure. I mean, there was challenges. I don't know if it's come with the fact that it was a feature, but we had 47 locations, first of all. So it's a lot of location to find. And when we start shooting the film, we just had nine location confirmed. So it's like hunted me for the whole shooting to not know where we're gonna shoot, and I had a precise idea of what I want to do visually. So for me, it was hard to not be able to project myself in like specific location. And also it was night. We were shooting at night, and I was a morning person, but the shooting breaks me. And for the 3 first days, I was like, I'm kind of non-functional at night, I think. And also on the set, the directors are always the less experienced people because we are shooting once in a while, and all the team around you are used to shooting. So all those things, um, uh, plus, yeah, I was thinking of I have to do this for 2 months, like, and I was feeling so tired already and so overwhelmed. So that's the difference, to have those challenge, but it's gonna take all your life for 2 months. It's like doing a marathon compared to a sprint, basically. But at some point you are used to um, this way of living, and you also become so close to your team. So, and I saw in their eyes how much they were happy to do this film with me, and how much they had confidence in me, and it gave me a lot of courage to just notice how people was into it, and it gave me confidence that I was doing something right. So yeah.
You mentioned 47 locations. Was this film entirely shot in Canada? And how long did the principal photography take you, the shooting?
So it was yeah, all in Quebec. It's Montreal and the surrounding of Montreal, and we had 29 days of shooting. Yeah.
All right.
So if you
Oh,
make the calcul, 47 location for 29 days, it's a lot. It was a challenge because we had like lots of plays to do it in the same night, and it was a shooting at night. So we 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 need a big crew to pre-light things and go faster. So we had 3.3 million Canadian. So it wasn't a lot for this the ambition of the film and our needs. Yeah.
so throughout the film, there are subtle shades of dark humor. Now, was Humanist Vampire always supposed to be a dark comedy, or was it supposed to be like a extremely serious drama? Like how it,
No.
all right.
It was like I it's my first comedy, but I think of myself as a funny person, and I wanted to have fun. It was COVID, and I didn't want to do like a very serious hard drama. And also, like, I think like my goal was for people to walk out of the theater with a smile on. Like, there's so many bad things happening right now, and I didn't want to add to those things. I just want to have a break from it. And my co-writer Christine, she's a brilliant comedy writer, so it was the intention. Yeah.
All right. You mentioned COVID, so what was it like? What year was this shot in? Like 2021 or
We shoot it in 2022,
two? All
but
right.
we start to write it in 2020.
All right. And as a filmmaker yourself, in general, what kind of films or directors inspire you for your craft?
Um, there's several, but I think the first one that I want to talk about is David Lynch. It's like Mulholland Drive was the first movie that was opening my eyes on movie as an art form, and I like how he challenged audiences and how he play with like the tones and the dream-like sequence as well. So I there's a lot of qualities in his way of directing that inspired me a lot. Jane Campion as well. Sweetie is her first feature film, is one of my favorite film, like uh, like yeah, I really really like this film. And from her first feature, she has a so strong and a distinctive visual style, and I like how she creates odd characters but who are so relatable in some weird way, and how she play with really tragic subject but in a playful way. So yeah, I really like her a lot. And who else? I really like Noah Baumbach as well. Francis Ha is one of my favorite film as well, and I like his dialogue and his way of um yeah, it his work talked to my soul, I guess. um and I can talk for the next hour about other uh director that I really like. um but yeah, that was it for now.
So my final question would be that, in the movies that follow Humanist Vampire from you, so what would be the themes and subject matter that would influence you the most in throughout your filmography? Like, what can we expect to find in almost each of your films now?
mm, um I think I never start for like my starting point is never I want to talk about this subject, is always either a piece that I read and I am curious about the characters, or I feel a kinship with the characters, and so my starting point is always the characters. Uh, I'm not sure which film. I'm developing a couple of things right now, so I'm not sure which one will be my next one. But I just finished writing a play, a screenplay about, it was an adaptation of a theater play, and it talks about people who decide to disappear from their own life without telling their relatives, and mostly the impact it has on the people who left behind and don't know what happened. So how the narrative we are telling ourselves to, because not knowing it's so hard, so we try to find answers. And so I think that's the that's what interests me the most in that story is um the yeah, to try. I like people characters who try to know who they are and try to break free of the past, and try to, yeah, know themselves. I think it's the core of what interesting me. And for sure it's going to be a drama, but there's lots of fun moment as well, so it's going to be a mix of tone as well, but in a other proportion, more drama than comedy, but still very lively dialogue and colorful characters.
All right. That'll be all for today, Ariane. Thank you for your time.
Thank
And
you.
I'm eager to check out your next project because Humanist Vampire was one of my favorite films from last year. So
Oh,
thank you.
oh, thank you very much. Thank you for having me.